Okay, hello YouTube. Excuse me if you don't like my appearance, but I have a really good video I want to do today. Now that I'm over my drunkenness and hangover or whatever, I came up with this idea as I was doing some writing research because I told you I do a lot of writing. So it's almost 10:30, and I started thinking about monologues, and I was thinking about making a top 10 list of like just really powerful monologues, like my favorite for right off the top of my head. I came up with this list really fast, but I mean, there's a lot of great monologues in cinema. But this is my top 10 list for today, that the best I could come up with. My top 10 list includes various actors who performed as a character and gave a great speech in the movie. And I have a teacher, uh, a, like a defender type, lawyer type person, a politician, military man, a prophet, a principal, a freedom fighter, a cynic, a player, and a coach. So I'm going to talk about all these 10. They're not in any specific order as far as you know, which one's better than the other one. These are all great, but I do think one of my all-time favorites, and I'll start with that one. I'll start with my one of my all-time favorites, which was performed by Al Pacino, and it was in Scent of a Woman. And I'm gonna take my glasses off. No, I'll take my glasses. No, I got to leave my glasses on because I have to read some of my notes. Anyway, Scent of a Woman with Al Pacino had a really great monologue. Forgive me, but I can't remember the character he played, but he um, he does this great, really great speech, this great monologue when he's defending Charlie um, at the Baird School. It's one of my favorites, and I recommend if you're writing monologues like I am, that you take a look at that one because I believe that Al Pacino did win an Oscar for his performance in that movie. And if you look at that monologue, I mean, you can see why. Between his acting and that writing, it was pure gold. Okay, so the next one I want to mention is Jack Nicholson in A Few Good Men. Well, not everybody, but most people who have seen the movie refer a lot to the big famous quote from that monologue, "You can't handle the truth," And it's a great monologue. It really, of all the other things that were said in the movie, that monologue was like the peak of the movie, and just a really great monologue. And I think it was really like the speech for military men when they're getting condemned by others for being military men. I think that was just a great speech to show the heart of a military man. And the next one I'll mention is the prophet. I mean, you might not agree with me in calling him a prophet, but it was in the movie Pulp Fiction, and it was played by Samuel Jackson's character, a very powerful and scary monologue. I call him a prophet after watching that movie many times and looking at his character. I would call that character a prophet because I mean, he looks to most as just some kind of gangster with a gun, some kind of drug dealer gangster. But if you listen to all the things he says in the movie, and especially his big speech where he quotes this part from the Bible, Ezekiel. Um, I mean, I would call that character a prophet. But the Ezekiel monologue in Pulp Fiction is just, whew, like, whoa, very intense. Another one that I think is really, really good is Morgan Freeman in Lean on Me. He's Principal Joe, and he has amazing lines in that movie, just amazing lines. But he does a couple of really intense monologues when he's talking to the school, trying to get the school motivated because the school's falling apart, and he delivers a few really incredible monologues in that movie. Um, Another one is Mel Gibson in Braveheart. He's trying to teach the people that he's talking to about the value of freedom. And I mean, he you can kind of tell, and sometimes when he's saying his lines, he's not sure if people are going to agree with him, but he believes, you can tell in the monologues that he believes in freedom, and he wants that to be a value to other people, and he has some really great monologues on that theme. um, I'm also going to mention Rocky, Sylvester Stallone in Rocky. Um, Definitely the first movie, and the other movies had some as well, but the first one definitely had um, monologues where he was talking about the heart of, and I'm not going to just call him a boxer, I want to call him a player, because he's, whether you're in baseball, football, or just anything, an actor, whatever you're doing, whether it's by yourself or as a team, you know, the speeches that Rocky gives in the first and the sequel movies, his monologues are so great and inspiring to anyone who wants to, you know, keep fighting the good fight. Um, and then I wanted to talk about uh, a movie called Touchback that starred Kurt Russell. Now, I didn't really see the movie, but I did look at some of Kurt's monologues. I don't know the character he played in that movie, but I saw some of his monologue in that as he was doing a coach for the football team. And I imagine that being a coach is a really difficult job, because it's like trying to find out how to keep the team going when, especially if they're getting, beat up or whatever. So, and there's a lot of great coach, monologues, but I think Touchback probably has some of the best. Um, and I think the monologue that comes up is known as "You Were Born for This," is the monologue that most people would agree is a great coach monologue. Um, Now, one of for a teacher, or I had like, I at one point I had a library full of like tons of teacher movies, and I was just studying it so that I would be prepared when I went in as a teacher. And there's so many. I mean, there's so many. I could probably just do a whole top 10 list on teacher monologues, but I'm gonna go with Taylor Molly, because Taylor Molly, I don't know if he did it as a comedy routine, if he wrote that just for teachers specifically, if he, I don't know why Taylor Molly, wrote it or performed it. If he, I think he really was a teacher. I think he was a teacher, and I really don't even know if it's a monologue or just actually just his honest, feelings on the matter. But whatever it was, Taylor Molly's, I'm going to call it a monologue, is the most memorable thing I've ever heard from a teacher to a teacher about teachers. And any teacher who's, just questioning whether it's worth it or not needs to have Taylor Molly's speech in their pocket for sure. And most of those of us who already know it, we usually find it, or call it "Those Who Can't Teach" by Taylor Molly. I mean, man, does he use sarcasm, satire, and passion to really, praise the teacher. And then finally, I would like to mention the two Jokers that from the Batman movies. Heath Ledger and Joaquin Phoenix's Joker have tons of monologues that explain why a cynic is a cynic, and that you may not like cynicism as an eternal optimist, but as a joke, remember, what is a cynic? An optimist with experience. Or what is a pessimist? An optimist with experience. Ha ha ha. That's a joke. So if you could look at, any Joker really and find plenty of monologues about cynicism and pessimism. So that's my top 10 list of great monologues, and I hope you enjoyed that.